Yo, what's worse than finding a pineapple on your pizza? Try a global Microsoft outage. Just happened, folks. Chaos everywhere. People locked out of emails, businesses on pause. It was wild. Imagine showing up for work, coffee in hand, ready to crush it, then BAM! Blue screen of death, not just your computer, but potentially everyone in your company across the world. That's what happened. This wasn't some small glitch either. We're talking major disruption. From hospitals to government offices, the world felt the pain. Turns out we're all pretty reliant on Microsoft, like it or not. So, what happened? Let's dive in, shall we? Buckle up. It's about to get techie, but in a fun way, promise.
Remember that friend who shows up uninvited and crashes on your couch for a week? That's kind of what CrowdStrike did, but digitally.
CrowdStrike, a cybersecurity firm, had a system update. Sounds boring, right? Well, this update triggered a domino effect. Microsoft, being the good digital citizen it is, uses CrowdStrike's services. So, when CrowdStrike sneezed, Microsoft caught a cold, and the whole world felt the chills. Turns out, the update had a bug. A tiny little coding error that snowballed into a massive outage. It's like forgetting to carry the 1 in a math problem. Small mistake, big consequences. But hey, at least it wasn't hackers, right? Or was it? The plot thickens.
Now let's talk about the Bank of England. They've had a rough go lately, haven't they? Brexit drama, economic uncertainty, and now this. The Microsoft outage didn't spare the Brits. Imagine being responsible for a country's entire financial system. You've got graphs, charts, and algorithms running 24/7. Suddenly, poof, Microsoft decides to take a nap and your entire system goes into standby mode. Not ideal.
Reports suggested the Bank of England experienced disruptions in some of its services. Luckily, they had backup plans. Phew. But still, it highlights how vulnerable even the most powerful institutions are to these tech hiccups. It's enough to make you want to stuff your cash under a mattress. But wait, there's more. While the rest of the world was scrambling, one country seemed oddly unaffected.
Remember that kid in school who aced every test even when everyone else was failing? That's China right now, but with the Microsoft outage. While the rest of the world was sweating it out, China was like, outage? What outage?
Seriously, reports suggested that China sailed through the chaos relatively unscathed. It's like they built a digital moat around their systems. Oh wait, they kind of did.
See, China has this thing called the Great Firewall. It's like a giant filter for the internet, controlling what information goes in and out. Now, some might argue about its implications for free information, but in this case, it seems to have acted like a shield, protecting China from the Microsoft meltdown.
But the firewall isn't the only reason for China's resilience. They've been playing a different game altogether.
China's secret weapon? Homegrown technology. While many countries rely heavily on foreign tech giants like Microsoft, China has been busy cultivating its own tech ecosystem. Think about it. Instead of depending on CrowdStrike, China has its own cybersecurity champions. And instead of relying solely on Microsoft Azure, they have their own cloud giants like Alibaba Cloud and Tencent Cloud.
It's like building your own car instead of relying on someone else's. Sure, it takes time and effort, but in the end, you're in control. You decide the features, the security, everything.
And let's not forget about 21Vianet. This Chinese company operates Microsoft's cloud services within China. It's like having a local franchise, ensuring smoother operations and, you guessed it, more control.
So, China's approach is like a double whammy, a protective firewall and a thriving homegrown tech scene. This Microsoft outage was a wake-up call, folks. It exposed the vulnerabilities of relying too heavily on foreign tech. It's like putting all your eggs in one basket and then accidentally dropping the basket. Not a good look. China, with its strategic investments in homegrown tech and its controversial firewall, seems to be weathering the storm better than most. It's a stark contrast to many Western countries, which are now grappling with the consequences of their tech dependencies. The big question is, will this outage be a catalyst for change? Will we see a global shift towards greater tech independence? Or will we hit the remind me later button on this wake-up call? Only time will tell. But one thing's for sure, the digital landscape is changing, and those who control their own technology may just have the upper hand. Stay tuned, folks, it's going to be an interesting ride.